Hi, it's Patricia Young, licensed clinical social worker. Today I want to talk to you about some ways that we can relook at what we could label anxiety and depression in a new way in terms of being expansive and contracting. So I'm a therapist. I'm in San Diego, California. I work with people one-on-one and I work online with people in California. I primarily work with highly sensitive people. I help them learn to manage the strong reactions that they have to balance the sense of overwhelm, help them feel like they're not so alone, and to help them understand what their strengths are. And Gracie, the one-eyed wonder dog, is right here. She's almost always on my lap because if she's not, she'll be barking or scratching at the door. So anyways, what I want to talk to you today about is I'm not debating whether we have depression or we don't have depression, whether you should take medication or not. I'm not here to talk about that. But what I do want to talk about is I had labeled a lot of what I experienced as depression and anxiety. Once I found out I was a highly sensitive person and learned more about overwhelm, overstimulation, over-arousal, and then the need to retreat, to replenish because of that overstimulation, it really helped me look back over my life and to take a look at how I was labeling things. And again, there is no right or wrong. I'm sharing my experience, and this has been my experience with other highly sensitive people. What would happen for me is I would go through times when I would kind of withdraw. I did not feel as social. I'd spend more of the time on the weekend reading or doing, the label that I used was depression, and I would say that I was isolated. Once I learned I was a highly sensitive person, I started really paying attention to when I had those times. And what I realized was I wasn't feeling depressed, and it's not that I wasn't feeling social, I was feeling drained. And what I needed was some downtime to replenish and kind of restore myself. And as I started to tune in when I had those times and was able to really look at what was it and to remove the labels, it really gave me a shift in perspective about what was going on. And what I find for myself is I have times when the word that I use is expansive. And when I'm in an expansive place, I'm much more likely to be social. I am much more likely to return emails, to reach out. My creativity is higher. I'll do videos when I'm in an expansive place. I do more social activities because my energy is high and it's very outgoing. Then what generally happens if I have a pretty long expansive period is then I kind of go into, oh, little Gracie, this is my little one-eyed wonder. Then what usually follows is a period of contraction. And I am not as productive. It's harder for me to make phone calls, return emails. My energy is just very inward. It's almost like I have a battery, and when it's full, I'm very expansive. And then that battery gets low and I contract so that I can kind of regenerate. Once I understood what my patterns were, I call them rhythms, it really helped me to honor what was going on for me and not judge it. As a highly sensitive person, I think it's really easy for us to look at non-HSPs who are out there doing and to feel like, how come we can't do that? And then generally what we do, this is what I did, is I felt like something was wrong with me and I'd beat up with myself. What the F is wrong with me? It's kind of how I felt. It doesn't help when we do that, but I think that it's a common place that we go. So what I've learned to do is to honor my rhythms. At least up until now, I don't feel like I have a lot of control over if I'm going to be expansive or if I'm going to be in more of a contracted place. But when I am feeling expansive, that's when you'll see me jump on and I'll do videos and I engage and I do the networking that I need to and I take advantage of those times. I'm mindful about not getting into overwhelm or overexhaustion. But I just know for me that naturally after I have an expansive state, I'm going to have a contractive state. And having that information makes it so much easier to just kind of ride it. I use the analogy of a wave. Expansion is kind of the top of the wave when you're riding it, and the contraction is the dip in the wave where you just kind of, you lean into it and you know that it's not going to be forever, it'll pass. Before I knew that I was an HSP and I'd have these expansive places, I kind of thought like I finally arrived. This is what the end result is. And when it didn't last, I'd feel angry and disappointed because I felt like that was the place that I was supposed to be in. It was kind of my earmark of I should be like all the extroverts and my energy should be high and outgoing all the time. That's just not what's true for me. So understanding what our rhythms are and having a new filter, a new way that we describe what we're experiencing. And I think when we use labels like anxiety or depression, I mean, if you need to use them, it's fine. For me, it wasn't very helpful, and it didn't really work for me in being able to have a new perspective about what was going on with my energy levels. Just means that I moved through it with a much higher level of acceptance, and I just don't fight it as much anymore. So the next time you're feeling like you might be depressed, you might want to tune in and see, what is your thinking like? Are you feeling hopeful? How are you feeling about your connection? It may be that you want to connect with people by text, but not on the phone. I think some of us still have that need for connection, but when our energy is lower, we need to find different ways to connect. Maybe it's through social media. So you can really examine, what's your energy level like? Do you still have a pretty good amount of energy? Are you doing tasks around the house? I have periods where, I watch Netflix all day, or I'm on my phone playing games. I used to judge it, and I know that that's part of, for me, the way that I retreat. I mean, there are lots of other things that we can do. We can be in nature, we can take a walk, we can go to yoga, we can exercise, we can spend time with our pets. So just because the ways that I recharge doesn't necessarily mean that it's the way that you recharge. But I think we have a tendency to be a doing society, and we think that we should be doing all the time. And when we have time when we're just being, relaxing, reading, watching videos, whatever our way of relaxing is, we judge it and feel like we're not being productive enough. And again, beating up on ourselves, that just really doesn't work. So the next time you feel a little bit more inward, maybe just check in and see what's going on. And again, I want to be clear, I'm not saying whether we have depression or not, or if you're an HSP, what you've been experiencing isn't depression, or you should or shouldn't be on medication. I'm just offering another way of looking at it. If you'd like to learn more about working with me, or I have a bunch of videos on my website, jump on over to patriciayounglcsw.com. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. If you find this valuable, please share it with other people. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.